I'm a fan of Andrew Garfield as an actor. I've always admired his take on Peter Parker / Spider-Man in The Amazing Spider-Man and its sequel, but watching more of his movies, most notably The Social Network, really opened my eyes to how much of a talented performer he is. He was essentially the reason I decided to check out Under the Silver Lake. I wasn't aware of any plot details and went into it pretty much blind, and I was taken by surprise while watching it. I certainly wasn't expecting such a weird and trippy experience, a film that fits into pretty much every genre and is deeply thought-provoking. Here Garfield plays Sam, a 33-year-old misogynistic conspiracy theorist and pop culture enthusiast living in LA, who goes through his day-to-day life getting high, having emotionless sex, and spying on his female neighbours. He can't pay his rent as he doesn't have a job, and therefore has quite a lot of free time on his hands. He gets close with his new neighbour Sarah one night, only to find that in the morning she's completely vanished. He sets out on a quest to find her, which takes him to all the weird corners of LA, and discovers there's more to her disappearance than meets the eye. He's actually stumbled across a global conspiracy, and his life, as he's always known it, is changed forever. Under the Silver Lake is a film that I constantly change my mind on while watching it. It has a number of different plot threads that all mostly come together towards the end, but naturally with a film like this, some of them don't and are left annoyingly unexplained. Not all of them though. I like the fact that the identity of the dog killer was never answered, leaving the viewer to ponder if it was just window dressing for the background of the story, or if it was actually Sam who's responsible. It's an interesting mystery left for the viewer to think about, and it's pretty effective. Other plot lines that are left a mystery don't work so well, mainly that of the owl mask woman and the fact that she's actually real. It's a weird thing for the movie to just throw in there without explanation, and while it does bring some certainly creepy scenes to the table, its connection to the actual narrative is something I'm still puzzled by. Despite that, the film is pretty solid. It's pretty hard to talk about, as the film's main strengths aren't related to the reveal of the mystery like a conventional film of that type, as the mystery is merely a framework to explore more interesting themes along the way. This time around, the journey is much more interesting than the destination, and the film knows this as it's what it focuses on. The film is essentially a conspiracy theory thriller based on the dreams of actual conspiracy theorists. Imagine a girl you really fancy goes missing, and the answers to finding her are in your collection of pop culture memorabilia. The key to solving it are the items you actually own. Not only is it a theorist fantasy, but it's also an analysis on conspiracy theorists, and even your typical masculine hero. Like most conspiracy theorists, Sam is desperate to unravel a mystery, but isn't actually prepared for the answer he'll eventually find. Deep down he doesn't want to know the answer, as that would prove a horrifying scenario to be reality. When he meets the songwriter, he is distraught by the revelations that his generation was shaped on a lie, even resorting to the murder of said songwriter when a gun is pulled on him, despite the fact that he theorized that fact beforehand. The same goes for the bunkers for rich people believing they can ascend to a higher plane of existence at the end of the film. Sam spent all his time trying to search for the answers, but didn't actually want to hear them. Conspiracy theorists just want a discovery, to make an impact on the world, but have no consideration for how damaging the actual discovery would make them feel. I mentioned previously it's also an analysis on the hero archetype, typically a male figure saving a damsel in distress. It's quite ironic that after his past experiences in the superhero movie landscape, Garfield would go on to portray a subversion of those sorts of characters. Sam sets out on a massive quest to find out what happened to a girl, bringing him to strange places across LA and putting him in many dangerous situations. Now on paper that sounds like a tale about a hero, yet here the concept is flipped on its head. Let me add some context to the equation. Sam is actually a massive misogynist and only cares about women for their bodies, even resorting to spying on his female neighbours. He's only interested in Sarah for her looks, after all he barely knows her, as she herself points out by the end of the film. He's really only doing this for himself, through reasons of lust and to satisfy his own beliefs about the world. The quest gives him purpose, and an excuse to indulge in the activities of conspiracy theorizing and casual emotionless sex. He's doing it for no reason other than for his own gain. When he finally meets Sarah, it's revealed that she left to be sealed inside the bunker willingly, by her own free choice. She certainly didn't want to be rescued, and she wasn't exactly counting on Sam to try. He's not a hero at all, even though he goes on a typical hero's quest. Andrew Garfield plays this role to perfection. You're fully invested in Sam's story, she never comes across as likeable. That's a tough line to walk, but Garfield absolutely nails it. He's playing against type here, and he really sells this character. Overall, Under the Silver Lake is such a strange viewing experience. I almost felt like Sam throughout the film, high off drugs and not knowing what I was really doing. The film felt incredibly trippy and isn't one I'll forget anytime soon. It combines a variety of different genres, such as a hero flick, sci-fi, mystery, conspiracy thriller, and even becomes a sex comedy in parts. Yet you never feel like you're watching a totally void mess. It's got a lot of interesting things it's trying to say about the world and certain people living in it, and it had me thinking about it a lot. It's pretty thought-provoking and I commend it for that. It does have some narrative flaws, and I wasn't quite sure what I made of it while viewing, but I ultimately consider it a triumph for Andrew Garfield and director David Robert Mitchell. I give Under the Silver Lake 3.5 stars out of 5.